Very good. Let me share my screen with you. There we go. All right. Very good. All right, guys. So today we're going to talk about nutrition in Parkinson's disease. Okay, what you eat and drink matters. And I have a co-host and a guest today, Tiffany. She's going to be with us here. She's also a physical therapist, assistant, and also a personal trainer. Lots of background with some sort of like, counseling, advise her clients and like what to drink, what to eat, and then she's gonna be part of our presentation with us today. Okay. All right. Before these are your goals, okay? Understand the importance of nutrition and manage hydration to manage the symptoms, and understand how the diet can affect positively and negatively your well-being and also your symptoms, okay? So what are the goals for with nutrition for Parkinson's? This is something that's very important because we know whatever we put in our body will or help us in a good way, or it's going to kind of like slow us down. Okay, so our goal is improve fiber intake, reduce constipation, which we're going to talk about later, maintain hydration, proper hydration, assessing dysphagia or any gastrointestinal problems, providing adequate energy to prevent weight loss or even excessive weight gain, and also preventing body thinning and vitamin D deficiency. Okay. Nutrition therapy. So far, we don't have a specific diet that will treat Parkinson's and its symptoms, okay? But we already know if you have a healthy diet and balanced diet, will all improve your general well-being. It's going to help manage the symptoms better, okay? What you eat may affect how well your medication works. That's why it's so important also to address that for optimization of meds. And then, to avoid any other complications, especially with, constipation or even low blood pressure. And then a balanced diet with plenty of fruits and vegetables may help and keep you energized and hydrated. Okay. All right, I'm now gonna pass, the mic to Tiffany. Go for it, Tiffany.
All right. Hello, everybody. I'm Tiffany. So as we know, we have all different types of food, and one of the main ones that helps pretty much fuel and energize the body is going to be your carbohydrates. Unfortunately, carbohydrates get a bad rep, but carbohydrates are the main fuel for your body. Our body really loves to use carbohydrates and break it down. It's the easiest way for our body to break down. And so our body actually prefers carbohydrates. So we want to keep them in our diet, in moderation, of course. So examples of some carbohydrates, more like starchy type carbohydrates, is going to be like breads and potatoes, all different potatoes, pasta, different cereals, rice, biscuits, cakes, cookies, things like that are going to be your carbohydrates, your more starchy carbohydrates. And so they actually found that people, with longer term Parkinson's may find foods that are really rich in carbohydrates and sugar can actually worsen dyskinesia, which, dyskinesia we can get later from mostly medications. Correct, Lenny?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we want to try to keep, the sugar down and try to have more fibrous carbohydrates. So that's a little bit better. So it's also important to not exclude, like I said earlier, carbohydrates from your diet, because that's going to help, fatigue is one of the main symptoms of Parkinson's that I hear a lot. And so we need that energy to fuel you through the day, especially if you're going to be, working out throughout the day and moving quite a bit. So you want to help keep that energy level up so you're not fatigued. It's recommended to have anywhere from 6 to 11 servings a day, depending, everybody's a little different on that. So yeah, so there's that. Our next one is going to be protein. Protein is very important when it comes to Parkinson's in a few different ways. It's pretty much the building block that helps your body to repair and grow, especially when you're working out and you're building muscle. It really helps, when your muscles are breaking down, that protein helps repair it, so you recover faster. Examples, of course, everybody I'm sure knows is going to be meat, fish, eggs, beans, and some dairy products, and other non-dairy proteins. Interesting. But also dairy can also have some protein as well. So with the levodopa and carbidopa, so with all those medicines right there, it's a protein building block that is absorbed in the same area as protein. Okay, so pretty much the medication is broken down in the small intestine, just like protein. So because it's fighting for that absorption, when you eat protein, like a high protein meal with the medication, it's not going to absorb as quickly. So you may see less effects from the medication. So it's very important to take your medication, the levodopa, 30 minutes before or 60 minutes after a meal, because then that allows the levodopa to reach that small intestine and absorb quicker. So if you need, it's best to take on an empty stomach, but if you need something, like an empty or a carbohydrate like crackers or some sort of fruit like a banana, if you need something to eat with that, then have something more around that, like more crackers or some sort of fruit. But try to stay away from the protein as much as you can 30 minutes before and 60 minutes after taking it. So, and that's about 2 to 3 servings a day is good for you. Everyone's a little different. There's different ways of doing the protein. I've seen a few different ways that people do it where they just kind of equal the protein out throughout the day. Or you can also do, some people have done where they have a little protein during the day and then they have a majority of their protein at night. So just know that when you have that protein at night, if you are having it, near that medication, the medications may not be as effective during your sleep cycle. So just kind of be aware of that. But there's a few different ways that you can go around with the protein. All right, the fats, the yumminess. Fats is, that's the yummy stuff. Very dense. These nutrients are found in food that provide the body with energy. It also helps support your cell function and it helps protect your organs. So you'll see a lot of people have visceral fat around their organs because it likes to protect and insulate around the organs. So that's really common for fat to kind of stay. They also help the body absorb nutrients, produce hormones, and of course, keep you all snugly warm. And use fats. So examples of fats are going to be like olive oil, avocados, coconut oil, nuts, butter, things of that nature. There's fats and, meat and what have you. So you want to use that sparingly because they have found that, a high amount of fat, it actually increases your symptoms of Parkinson's. So sometimes if you're eating too much fat, especially the unhealthy fats, trans fats, saturated fats, can kind of bring inflammation in the body. So we want to try to keep that inflammation to a minimal if we can and try to have more of the healthier fats. All right, my favorite, fruit and vegetables. Technically, fruit and vegetables are still a carbohydrate. And they're a great source of fiber. It really helps, especially, we'll talk about constipation later. So a big thing is constipation with Parkinson's. And so we want to make sure that you're having enough fiber. A good amount of fiber is between 25 to 35 grams a day. So if you're under that, you might have some constipation. Just be aware of that. So with fruit, fresh is going to be the best, especially if you're not a big water drinker. Fruit really has a lot of water in it, and so it can help hydrate you as well. But you can have it fresh, frozen, or canned. Try to stick with more of the fresh and the frozen if you can, but canned or in a cup is totally fine. And they have so much vitamins and minerals, that those micronutrients that your body really needs. And so make sure that you're keeping up with your fruit and vegetables throughout the day to keep the fiber up and to keep you nice and hydrated with all those added vitamins. All right. So another important topic is calcium and vitamin D. As we get older, it's very common, osteopenia, osteoporosis, the risk goes up. And then also they found with Parkinson's, there's a decreased calcium increases the risk of osteoporosis, which affects more than 91% of women and 61% of men. It's fairly common, so we want to make sure that we are keeping those bones nice and strong, because osteoporosis, it helps weaken the bones. So pretty much in the bones, it becomes very porous, very weak. And so if you have a fall or hit something, it can really it could make you breaking your bones a lot easier. So we want to try to keep our bones as strong as possible. And good sources of calcium are going to be dairy products, seeds, leafy greens has quite a bit of calcium. Sardines and salmon are loaded with it, along with beans and lentils, broccoli. You can also get like fortified foods like cereals and bars. Also like orange juice, they have added calcium as well. It's also really important for the absorption of calcium to have vitamin D with it. So you want to try to have calcium and vitamin D together if possible, whether that's a supplement or food sources. Food sources for vitamin D are going to be milk, fortified, so added. You have your sunscreen. And so make sure that you are keeping that calcium and vitamin D levels up. And so also a great way to get, to get your bones to be a lot more dense is also going to be working out and lifting. So that's another great source to help keep those bones nice and strong, but make sure you're getting enough calcium and vitamin D. It's very important.
Perfect. Thank you, Tiffany. She's gonna come back soon. So now talking about managing some symptoms. So as she mentioned, about those nutrients, it's very important to have like a well-balanced diet. Put lots of colors in your plate. Try as much as natural organic food as possible. Okay, so we can kind of like really have that nutritional aspect that you put in your body. Okay, and then we have unfortunately to deal with some situations. Okay, which is very common with Parkinson's disease, which we're going to address a few of them here. So first one, constipation, poor appetite, fatigue, nausea and vomiting, heartburn, reflux, bloating, dysphagia, slow or uncontrolled movements, and then orthostatic hypotension. Okay, we're gonna go and start with constipation. As we know, some of Parkinson's patients might develop that, not all of everyone, but it's kind of like one of the cardinal symptoms, for Parkinson's, that you have that slow movement with your bowel movements, so as the column, also get affected by, the disease. So there's some sort of a slowness with your digestion. Keeping the digestion is low, so the feces stay there for a long time, and what happened? More water is taken from it. That's why it's so hard sometimes, to poop, because of the aspect of this slowness of the digestive the process, and then taking the hydration from it and creates this issue. Okay, so we have patients that sometimes have days without it, or when they have it, it's really hard to pass, something that we have to address properly. And then if we engage diet and then hydration, that's the key part for this kind of issue. Okay, so we all know, that constipation, we have to eat more fibers. Okay, there's two types of fibers. One is soluble fibers that attracts water into your stool, making it softer and easier to pass. Those are a source of that: wheat bran, quinoa, skin of veggies and fruits. So we have the habit, some people have the habit to take the skin off, keep on it, especially for apples, pears, those things, it's important for your system. Okay, nuts, seeds, and flax seeds. And then soluble fiber, soluble fiber dissolves and creates a gel that may improve digestion in a number of ways. May reduce also blood cholesterol and sugar, and helps your body to improve blood glucose control. So source for those soluble fibers: vegetables, fruits, apples, beans, and lentils, yams, sweet potato, acacia, and scillion. So I'm always learning more about those source. Okay, so are those that you can find here? There's some picture on your slide on the right corner, kind of like give you a little bit more what you put in your plate regarding fibers, to eat fibers, on a daily basis is possible, to help with that. Okay, and so what it's advised, kind of like gradually increase of your fiber intake, 25 to 35 grams per day. Okay, so if you haven't been eating too much fiber, just don't try, start like really pump it up too quickly, because also, too much fiber can cause constipation, can get constipation worse. So that's why, it's a process to have your body to be adjusted, and then you can also see if there's any improvement or not, or if you're getting more constipated after eating it. It's something that needs to be brought to your attention, so you can check that more carefully. If eating more fibers on your own creates more constipation, then I highly recommend you to bring to the doctors, and see if there's anything that needs to be done to address that more properly, more tailored for your case. Okay, and as we mentioned here, vegetables, berries, fruits with skin. All right, whole grains, prune, dates, and figs. All right. Regarding the fibers, it's important here, highlight in red on the bottom here. When you take fibers, you have to take more water. They cannot go, individually increased. Has to be together. In the same way that the calcium matches with vitamin D, so fiber needs to have more water intake, fluid intake. Okay, just to maximize the digestion with, okay, especially with those soluble and insoluble fibers, they need that. Okay, and then there's also complex carbohydrates also help. We put some options here of them. Okay, so like quinoa, dummy, lentils, oats, brown rice, broccoli, kidney beans, potato, like all those things, it's easy to get it. It's not a problem at all. We just have to try to be more resourceful with those. Okay, and then consider food that contains probiotics and prebiotics. Okay, probiotic contains the probiotics are those which I have heard a few of them: kefir kombucha, miso, I don't know this name, probably it's like a German name, sauerkraut, sorry about that, tenth, and yogurt. And then prebiotic containing foods, artichokes, asparagus, bananas, garlic, onions, soybeans, and whole grains. All right. So those things that we can add, it's really advised. And then we cannot forget about exercise, guys. Exercise helps to stimulate bowel movements. Not moving is not helping your digestion. That's why exercise on a daily basis, once again, it's so important, not just for your muscles, your bones, your joints, but for your mobility, but also for your internal systems, to work together and get improved. Okay. I just brought this I want to bring this to your attention. Okay. I'm not trying to sell this idea or like sell that it's a cure for constipation. I just want to bring to your attention, because perhaps if you have a stool at home that you can add and change the angle of of your sitting position when you're pooping, it might be helpful for you, so this is give you like a little bit more insight. Place your feet on a small tool in front of you, to get your knees higher than your hips. Okay. And then you're going to be putting yourself more in like squatting position, where you're going to have this muscle, it's called puborectalis, to be more relaxed, helping for the sphincter to be a little bit more relaxed for the stool elimination. Okay, so it's not like a very thing a very hard thing to do. Just put it there in front of the toilet and try to see if that could help you, because there's some studies bring up that to our attention. That some patients have seen some benefits with that because of this positioning and the relaxation of this muscle. And I think it's worth it to bring to your attention so we can try. Okay. All right. So we talk about constipation, that fibers needs to be taken. Okay. And then matching with hydration. Okay. That's the one question that I ask very often for our patients, like how much water you drink. Do you consider yourself, a good drinker, water drinker? Some people, they say, oh no, I can do better. Some people say they feel like they are doing well. Here on the right side of the slide, give you a little bit insight how much glasses you should have based on your weight. Okay, there's like different calculations based also, gender and also activity level and weather. All right, which changes a couple glass here and there, more and fewer depends, the characteristics that has been assessed. All right, but this give it at least some baseline where you should be at, regarding your water intake. It's something that at least brings our attention that I can assume that the majority of people are dehydrated. They think they're drink enough, but they are not. So what we want for you is just to give you that baseline, oh, I have to drink more water, or have to force myself to drink more water, have to remind myself to drink more water. So the general guideline is 0.5 to 1 ounce of water per pound of weight. Okay, but at least 6 a glass of 8 ounce water, that's advised. That gives you like around 2 liters of water per day. But based on your weight, perhaps you have to adjust that more. Okay, and that water also is going to help the constipation. All right. Okay, and then something that happens, a change of appetite, or appetite, or some nausea or vomiting, those things. Okay, once again, if those things are happening, I want to bring to the doctor's attention. Any change that you experience in your body, don't wait, until those things needs to be until something worse happen. Address that properly. That's why we encourage our patients to take notes for the next appointment with neurologist, because something that you find perhaps today it's minor, it's just kind of like your body's give you signals that something needs to be approached. Okay. To help with that, some eating small and frequent meals throughout the day, versus like big meals, lunch, dinner, breakfast, or maybe, fragmental, small and more frequent portions. And then take medications with small meal or snack, such cracker juice or fruit. And then some tea might help with reducing nauseous. And then once again, exercise. So exercise, we're gonna boost your energy. You're gonna burn some calories and make you a little bit more hungrier. So it's important to have that concept as well, that exercise will burn more calories, your body will gonna ask for more. Okay. Fatigue. Try to limit sugar later in a day, as it can cause a spike of blood glucose and keep yourself up at night. All right. Limit caffeine intake throughout the day. I always kind of like tell the patients, if you want to have caffeine, you're allowed to, of course, but not late in the day, because that will affect your sleep pattern. And then you might wake up next morning, next day, feeling more fatigued. And then you try to get more caffeine and boosting throughout the day, and then you try again because you will be more, want to be more functional at 9, and then you go to this wrong pattern. Just to be a little bit more cautious with that. If you can take caffeine mostly in the morning, early afternoon, but not later in the day. Okay. And then for the fatigue, exercise. It seems opposite. Are you tired? We don't want to exercise. Our bodies ask you, not to. But if you force your body to move, you're going to create a boost of dopamine, a boost of hormones, that gives you pleasure, motivation, and you feel, even though tired in a way that you work out, but at least your mood's going to be a little bit more better after you exercise properly. Okay. Heartburn, reflux, and bloating. All right, those things are happen. Especially when you have alcohol, caffeine, or even carbonated beverage like soda. And then eat a small and frequent meal throughout the day. It's helpful. If you have like greasy foods, that slows your digestion, and get that could also be related to the heartburn and reflux. Okay, and then while you, after eating, try not to lay down. Okay, right after, maybe wait yourself for at least 45 to 1 hour afterwards. So and stay in the upright position to help the digestion process. Okay, and then avoid fried foods, as I mentioned, because that will kind of like get yourself more exposed to the chance to have more reflux and heart burning and bloating. As Tiffany mentioned about the inflammation too, those fried foods kind of like get your body more inflamed, and takes time for your body to kind of like get rid of that food in your system. Okay. And trigger foods: spice, chocolate, spice foods, onions, citrus, chocolate, and tomatoes. All right. So those things that, if you have a history of having those problems, check perhaps, if those triggers are in your list that you're eating. If they are, maybe you can adjust a little bit more, eliminate or minimize the intake of those. Okay. And then watch the outcome from it. okay? And walking after meal always helps with digestion. Once again, exercise a little bit. It's always helpful to get the digestion, speed it up a little bit, okay? Now let's talk about dysphagia. Dysphagia is a medical condition that affects your ability to swallow. Okay, this is a very hot topic, big topic to address. Okay, because we don't want to create what is called aspiration. All right, aspiration is one of the life-threatening cause of death. In Parkinson's patients. So, and we don't want that to happen. Okay, so instead of like going to the digestive tube, it goes to your lungs. And once you have that, you can have infection and then, a big problem coming afterwards because of that. So dysphagia, it's very important to be addressed because, we don't want to get yourself exposure to those scenarios and situations. All right. When you may having experience with dysphagia, if you're choking, perhaps eating or even with water, coughing during meals, or have some kind of like, reflux or regurgitation of foods, I'm sorry, in liquids. There's some weight loss and recurrent respiratory infections, So if you see yourself kind of like, on that path, we advise you, once again, bring to the doctor's attention, and perhaps you might need to get some assessment from a speech language pathologist to see, what's going on with your muscles, with your swallowing process, to see if there's anything that needs to be done, to help you. Remember, there's muscles around making this connection to happen between your digestion while you're eating, your breathing, okay? And then, the speech pathologists are able to address that things, and tips on how to avoid, the aspiration and getting the dysphagia, worse throughout the time. Okay, and we know if that's the case, that can significantly impact a person's quality of life, leading to malnutrition and dehydration if not properly managed. So what happens is people get afraid to eat, and then consequently, they're getting less and less food, less caloric intake, and then they lose weight, and there's some malnutrition, they feel weak, and then more fatigue, and then there's a domino effect. Okay, so we talk about that, about seeing a doctor if those things are happening. Okay, and then choose more liquid-based meals if swallowing is an issue, and the speech pathologist will be able to address that with you. Okay, and also eat small bites and chew well. All right, so and also your posture, it's important. Okay, one thing that it's important here to address: don't try to eat or even take your medication or even drink water, maybe a little bit, lying down, or a little bit, on your recliner, kind of like, not totally, flat, but with some inclination. Try not, because you put yourself more in a situation to have, an aspiration. I have seen that. Okay, and so get yourself, anytime you're eating or even drink water, get yourself in an upright position, and even though like this, try not to lean backwards, like that, because are the situations that you can have, you're prone to have episodes related with risk of aspirations. Okay, hypotension, another hot topic. Okay, what's a hypotension? It's low blood pressure. All right, so anything under 100 over 70, it's already like hypotension, and people can have really low numbers, such as I have seen people here, with 50, 60 over 40s, and then something that needs to be addressed properly. Okay, because we know hypotension can cause falls, can cause fainting episodes, and the next thing that you know, you're on the floor without any like your body doesn't advise you, so you just boom, find yourself waking up in the floor and you don't know what happened. We don't want that to happen. Okay. To avoid that, I mean, we know that it's a kind of like common aspect with Parkinson's patient. Then some medications also can develop that. Okay. And what we have to do, increase fluid and salt intake. So there's some sort of drinks like, as we know, V8 juice, Gatorade, and canned soups. They have more salt on it, to kind of like balance the ions in your system, okay, to increase the blood pressure. All right. And drink, once again, sometimes people have hypotension because they are dehydrated and they are not drinking enough water. Okay. Once again, another correlation, drink and add more water intake, throughout the day, because that's very important. Okay. And if you having episodes of hypotension, even though, but I don't measure at home, I don't know my blood pressure. If you stand up and you feel like, ooh, some lightheaded, you feel like you want to faint and you need to sit down, maybe you haven't already experienced what we call orthostatic hypotension episode, and we have to bring that to the attention of your doctor or even your therapist, if that's happening, because it needs to be addressed properly. Okay. And also, if you're at home, you can have a blood pressure monitor, especially if you having those episodes. I think it's advisable, so keep track of that. I ask those patients that have those hypotensive episodes to keep a track, same day, same time, every day for a couple of days, measuring that and bring it to the doctors for a proper management. Okay. And then what do we do? So we can kind of like eliminate, caffeinated beverages, hot liquids, and alcohol, because those type of beverages can get you dehydrated. All right. And perhaps, lower your blood pressure, creating also hypotension. And then one strategy, always wait, for a couple seconds when you're sitting or standing up before walking and moving, to reduce risk of falls, okay, especially related to that. So when you stand up, or even, for example, you coming from a bed, you're going to sit up, that could cause orthostatic hypotension. Just stay there. You don't have to do anything. Stay there for, 30 seconds or less. If that subsides, or even more, if it still feel a little bit, woozy, wait, and then get up. If you feel a little bit, woozy again, stay there for, a couple of seconds, and then you can able to move. And so that's kind of like strategy to avoid falls related to those episodes, because they happen. All right. And then for more advanced case, patients can wear compression stockings, socks, and then use an abdominal binder just to create this abdominal pressure to avoid, the muscles, and then the arteries to kind of like relax, and vasodilate, and create this hypotension. Okay, big takeaway. Okay, we almost done for some questions. Okay, here, treat diet like medication. I just want to highlight that. Okay, because what you put in your system is changing the dynamics of your system. Okay, that's why this nutritional topic, it's so important, because we will affect you or positively or negatively. And that's why it's so important to address properly, because we don't create any other problems. And then, bring to your doctor's attention if you need to address anything related, regarding your diet, or something that's happening to kind of like creating some barriers or difficulties for you to eat properly, experience those other symptoms or signs that, you're not happy about it. It could be, like a red flag and then don't wait too long to search for help. And then, the doctor, if needs a little bit more, addressment on your end, the doctor might prescribe you to see a dietitian, which is always helpful to get a little more resource how you prepare your meals and stuff, and then you can avoid, for example, or gain weight or losing weight, or even get meals prepared for you, and you can access that and keep track of, your health and well-being. Okay. All right. So now the mic it's on you. If you would like to ask any questions, I just want you turn your microphone off, and then Tiffany and I are here to answer any questions that you might have.
Lenny, this is Joe.
Hey, Joe.
Once again, you've overwhelmed me. If I understand this correctly, I have to find a caretaker who is a chef, somewhat of a scientist to blend all these ingredients together and to make them work in balance. A timekeeper, a physical therapist, and let's see, what else does she have to do?
It takes a village, Joe, as you know.
Yeah, but I'm not allowed to have villages. My wife just says no, it's only her, so I have to listen to my wife, okay? And she's absolutely correct, because nobody does a better job than she does. But from a practical side, I know you guys have been asked this before, but from a user side, meaning the patients, is there a version that we can put this into that actually gives us a generalized guide so we at least know what to do and sit with somebody? In other words, it doesn't have to be a genius to figure out what foods are good and what foods are not good. I know the foods that I want are bad. All right, it's just the way it goes. Everything has sugar. Chocolate has sugar into it. My chocolate martinis have chocolate and sugar in it, things like that. So yeah, there I get the alcohol that goes with it. But in general terms, how do we get that guidance so we at least have the big picture? As we go see our physical therapist regularly, I hope we do anyway, until they get tired of seeing us. And so we have to keep this all going through. In some ways, at least for me, it gives me some balance throughout the day that I know, oh yeah, now's the time to take X. I know I keep a schedule for my medication, and you say to treat your foods like medication or your diet like medication. Great idea. I didn't think of that before, but it does make sense because some of these foods and medicines cannot be taken with each other and within certain times of each other. So that seems to help out. But any other guidance you can provide us with, at least I would greatly appreciate.
Yeah, I have something in mind. Tiffany would like to share anything?
Well, go for it, and I'll kind of tackle after you.
Okay, so I think that's a very important question because, we can get overwhelmed like on how to act because, it's a lot of information. All right. Keep it simple. All right. How can, throughout my day, I can create this well-balanced diet. All right. So making the plate colorful with more like, mixing, I have to have some sort of like beans, rice, some protein, and then I have to have, some sort of like, fruits. Yeah. And then if I have constipation, instead of like peeling them, I'm gonna eat apple with the skin. Just be a little bit more resourceful, to kind of like bring a little bit of here, like I should have, I want to pick like one vegetable, to add on my plate. I want to pick one fruit, I want to pick one carbohydrate, that's more like complex,
Okay.
those things put in your plate and eat. Just make that simple, and then until you find perhaps, for example, a dietitian that could guide you with more resource, which we don't have, like at least I don't know a lot of people that could guide us with that matter. But if we search online, we might find, that maybe asking the doctor if they have any dietitian they have been worked with to give you more insights, how to prepare your meals, and also at the end of the day, everything with more balance, it just helps you. Does that answer your question?
Oh, yes, I said, oh, yes, too quickly. No, it does. You said the KISS method, keep it simple, stupid. I like that because that works for me. I love the KISS method because that's the way I get the guidance that comes out of it. The
Yeah.
timing is really difficult for us. Your hydration, for instance, your recommendation on your hydration is for a 200-pound person, 13 8-ounce glasses a day.
Yeah.
I want to meet that person who does 13 8-ounce glasses a day. You say, yeah, of course you say, yeah. But
I'm
that's
here.
a
I'm
lot.
I'm working on it, So
Okay.
yeah, I know it's kind of like a goal, and
Yeah.
that's what we want, at least for you to kind of like, push the extra glass
Right.
every day, just to help you with that. That's like will be very resourceful, for you to kind of like, have more than intake. Even though you might not get there with the 3 liters per se, every day, but at least, or instead of like eating only 4 glasses, now I'm drinking like, 8. Perfect. That's what we want, so increase that. I think that's very solid if you're able to at least bump it up a little bit. I must say, like, every time when you hear about a diet, you feel guilty in a way that, oh, I'm not doing so well, so hot,
Right.
but if you can kind of like always, as I mentioned, select one of the items and put it in your plate, you're doing already what's supposed to, just keep it simple, but kind of like, uh avoid those foods that's not gonna help much your digestion. For example, I have patients that love ice cream, so we know, they cannot have ice cream after every meal, but of course you can have ice cream here and there, so, but just going to be a bit more diligent with the process, because later on he might pay the price with more constipation. Just that balance. We're not
Right.
here to say like, oh, don't have any chocolates, or those things. No, we just like in moderation, and then that's what helps you in the long run.
Okay, I'll keep trying. Thank you.
Welcome. Any other questions?
Yes, I have a question.
Hey, Joyce. Hey, Dan.
Hi. Is it important to like have your meals at a specific time every day, or to have them scheduled, or does that really matter?
Do you want to answer that, Tiffany?
So everyone's different. So, the timing is, so I think the main important thing is your medication schedule.
Yeah.
So I think that's the number one goal for anyone with Parkinson's, is making sure that your medication schedule is on point. And then going around that medication schedule. So if you wake up usually at 7 and you take your medications, around when you wake up, around that time, if you are hungry, just always have a piece of fruit. And then an hour later, that's when you can have your meal with that protein. And then kind of go from there, and always kind of go around that medication schedule. That would be my biggest advice. But, certain times, and also try to think of when you're hungry too. If you're hungry, grab a snack, grab something small to kind of keep that metabolism going up. And see, also, if you wake up not hungry, that's another sign too. So it's a good thing when you wake up hungry, that means your metabolism is going, your circulation is going. And so you want to kind of feed your metabolism. So I know your appetite can kind of go down a little bit. So you may have to remind yourself to have these small snacks throughout the day. Um, and so a good guidance, just a basic guidance is, 3 small meals a day, and then having like 2 to 3 snacks throughout the day around your medication times. So during those snacks, you can have those simple carbs like crackers and some fruit, and then having some nice meals about an hour after the meal, after your medication. And then if you get a little bit hungry, you know, before your medication, have that little snack, fruit, crackers, what have you, and then an hour later have that meal. So that might be a good way to kind of go throughout your day, just focusing around your medications.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I agree with Tiffany 100% with that. You know, the time of medication is the leader here, you know, and it doesn't mean that you should not like take a medication, not eat, you know, you should not eat protein together with medication, you know. So if you're planning to have a meal with protein, then take the medication, you know, your time, and then eat that meal afterwards, you know. So that's the cautious side, you know, because once you have both of them, your you know, your digestion doesn't know, the system doesn't know which one is medication, which one is food, and you might have some waste of medication instead of like having everything that you need in your system. That's why, you know, the timing of medication is so crucial, and then your digestion can affect that positively or negatively.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? All good? All right, so just we're gonna end up with a few things here, housekeeping items here to share with you guys. Our next topic, it's caring for PD, empowering the caretaker role. All right, so invite your loved ones to be part of it, you know, because we're gonna address that issue. As we know, Parkinson's disease is a family disease that impacts everybody around it, not just the person with Parkinson's, but excuse me, husbands, wives, partners, kids, grandkids, you know, everyone. So, and I would like to invite you to be part of it. Okay. And then our classes, you know, Tuesday and Thursdays, they are free online. So you can just log in using the same code, the same meeting ID that you did for the webinars today, you know, use for the class, Tuesdays at 11 a.m. and Fridays 2 p.m. We have tomorrow actually today, 4 p.m., our support group for caretakers. You know, you're more than welcome to join us at the clinic. And then we have the circuit class in Fort Lauderdale every Mondays, you know, for more the advanced class, okay? And then if you'd like to contact us, this is our addresses. We are located in Fort Lauderdale and in Delray. Feel free to reach out to us, and we'd like to meet you, okay, and work with you. All right, guys. Thank you so much for your
very much.
time. All right, Tiffany, awesome. You rock. Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
again.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you,
both.
everyone.
Everyone.
Have a good day. Okay. Bless you all. Bye.
Time to eat.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.